What's up, friends? Thought of the day number 13. Currently on the bike doing my low intensity ride, so I thought I would mic up to try and get the sound as good as I can, as good as I can make it, and record a few thoughts. The opportunities to record those little videos are few and far between, depending on the days, so I thought a little hour easy on the bike was a good opportunity. Plus it helps modulate my intensity. If I'm going too hard, if I can't speak in sentences, then I have to slow down. So it's a good way to make sure that I'm respecting my intensity for the day. So here we go. Thought for today, I wanted to talk about the CrossFit Games. 2022 Noble CrossFit Games. First of all, what are your thoughts? Have you watched them? Did you watch them? Do you ever watch them? Leave a comment below. The Games is something I've watched every year now for probably close to 10 years. Maybe not quite, maybe 8-9 years at least. It's a sport that I practiced for a while before I switched to weightlifting, but it's always a sport that I've been interested in and that I've always followed, both from the philosophical standpoint, the method of CrossFit, if you will, and the sport of CrossFit, because I think they're fundamentally different things at this point, and they're important to differentiate. But back to the Games this year, I was really excited to watch those Games. A few new things, mainly the big change was Adrian Bosman taking over as director of the Games from Dave Castro. So not necessarily wanting to judge one versus the other, but I was very impressed with the programming this year. I thought the sessions were really interesting. All the workouts were fun to watch. I think the inclusion of finer skills, like simple stuff, like the unbroken single unders, the legless pegboard, different movements that we haven't seen necessarily in years past, but small variations on the norm, the parallel bars and the dips, the petite in the hard spot, a lot of different skills that we haven't seen, like the wall facing handstand push-ups. It was really interesting from Bosman to include all of those. I think it will force, moving forward, it will force CrossFit coaches to think laterally a little bit more and not just stay in the same exact movements that we always do or that they always practice and do. So that I think was a very interesting step forward for the sport and for the community at large, just kind of pushing a bit more open-mindedness when it comes to what movements do we practice or do we need to practice for the sport. Some athletes that blew up on the legless pegboards and, like I said, Tia on the parallel dips. I think Lauren Fisher in the team setting had a hard time with them as well. I mean, things that should not be a limiting factor for those athletes. But I guess it highlights to some extent the hyper-specificity of a sport that is supposed to be, the hyper-specificity of the training of certain athletes in a sport that is supposed to be constantly varied and unknown and unknowable. I don't know if they still use those terms in the context of the CrossFit Games, but you're supposed to be able to do everything. So when we throw at you a movement that is just a little bit different than what you usually do, it shouldn't be a problem, because you should have worked on that at some point, but you didn't. It's like the bench press a few years back at regionals that caught everybody off guard. Simple things, but I think, broadening the scope of what CrossFit is as a sport, that was really interesting to see. Very fun events to watch, close races. Alpaca, so unfortunate that they had to cancel the legless rope climbs, because that would have been a super interesting event. It was still interesting, it was still fun and exciting, but it would have been so much better with the legless, in my opinion. The heavy sandbag was a lot of fun to watch. Such a crazy atmosphere in there. The back nine with the yoke carry, front squat, deadlift. Just seeing seeing everybody get under the yoke the second time around and seeing their midline being completely shot from 4 front squats and 3 deadlifts. Obviously very heavy, but still, it was just very interesting to see. Yeah, very smart programming. Medeiros takes it again for the men. 2 new faces on the podium with Roman and Ricky. Ricky was back after his 4-year ban. Like him or not, he did the work and he's here. Still has some big limitations overhead, but I'm sure they'll be working on that. Roman, super excited about his performance. Seeing a guy who should have been at the games for the last, 3 or 4 years, but couldn't get into the country for visa reasons, and now is second on the podium. That was great to watch. Usual suspects in the top 10 otherwise, bar a few, but very, very nice performance. I don't know if Medeiros wins any events. I don't think he does. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just super consistent, right? And other athletes that have gaps still in their fitness, and like Roman and Ricky, and even though they win a few events, can't make it to the top of the podium. So my hat off to Medeiros. And then in the women, Tia again, absolutely incredible. Even though definitely some weaknesses popping up, she was put aback on a few events this year, which was kind of the first time I saw that. It's usually a clean sweep for her, so seeing her struggle on the parallel bar dips and a couple other workouts was unusual. The capital workout was great while I think about it. Very fun too, the steps at the end. It's very, very interesting WOD. Mal O'Brien takes second place. Does she, or is it Laura? Does Laura take second place? I think Laura Horvath is on the podium, second or third. Mal O'Brien, rising star, lots to come for her in the next few years. It'll be interesting to see the battle next year. I don't know if Tia's coming back or not. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching the games, and I thought the programming was a lot of fun, and I look forward to see more of this next year. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because it's free. You can always change your mind, so that's all right. Leave me a like if you enjoyed the content, and hope the bike wasn't too loud while I was talking, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Take care.